Hi everyone, welcome to Poetology. 2 weeks ago I made a video about paper journals, poetry journals that I have at home, and I said I was going to do a second video on online poetry journals. And that's what I'm doing today. I asked on Twitter for recommendations for poetry journals, and I got many of them. And there are several journals that I didn't actually know myself, so I discovered new journals thanks to this. There were so many that this is going to take 2 videos, so I'll post the first one this week and the second one will follow very soon. I have 11 journals per video, so 11 journals today and 11 next week. The advantage of these online poetry journals, first of all, is that they are free, so you can read them for free, you can access them from everywhere, and that helps you read more widely, look at poetry that you wouldn't discover otherwise. And thanks to the work of the editors, the level is always excellent. As I said, you can access them from a web browser, but in many cases they can also be read on your phone, or you can download the issue and use it whenever you want without having internet access. So that enables you to take poetry with you and use moments when you have a little bit of time to have a look at some poems. Obviously, if you are a poet yourself and you write, it's very interesting to know where you can submit work. So in this video, I also look at the submission windows of the various magazines, so that if you want to send some work, you know when to do it. And a few of them are actually open at the moment. I hope you enjoy this video, and I will see you at the other end. First, here is Harana Poetry. It was founded by Kostia Tsolakis and Romelin Ante, and it's for poets who write in English as the second or parallel language. And it is on its 8th issue. Here you can actually read the issue by clicking on the different poems, and it's also very easily accessible by phone. At the moment they are closed for submission, but they will open in December. And here we have Datableed, and they are a very experimental journal that often accepts visual work as well as written word on the page. So if you are doing concrete poetry or some more innovative forms of poems, you might want to consider submitting there. Their submission window is closed at the moment, but they say, "We welcome your visceral ephemera. No genre or media restrictions apply. We welcome tracts, manifestos, visual or video poetry, sound experiments, recordings, plagues, hexes, interruptions, surgical incisions, schematics, collaborations, correspondences, statements, critiques, and so on. But no tedious meat, no neoliberal capitalism, no homophobia, transphobia, or racism or misogyny." And their submission window is currently closed, but you can check out the previous issues. The most recent one is issue 12, and this is what an issue looks like. You can simply click on any one of these and read the poetry and other art form attached to it. Here is Quilling. Quilling is not specific to poetry, it's a literary magazine of queer writing. They quote Jack Halberstam in the About page and explain that Quilling seeks to publish queer works of fiction, non-fiction, and reviews from LGBTQIA+ writers. We especially encourage submissions from BIPOC, trans, non-binary, and other underrepresented voices in our community. So if you belong to the queer community, you are welcome to submit to this particular journal, and you can read all of their issues here. They have amazing graphics for each cover. You can download them as well, which is very handy if you want to read them on your phone later on, for example. But you can also view them online. And again, you just get the issue like this. There's plenty of poetry. and read anything you want. Let's look at the submission page. They are currently closed for submission, but they will update us when they open a new window. Like many of these, and I think actually all of these are on Twitter. So Twitter is the place to go if you want to follow poetry journals and be up to date when submission windows open. It's the best place to be, and a lot of poets are there as well. Personally, it's my main account, my main social media. So Twitter is where it's at for this type of literary poetry. Welcome to the Great Perverse Mag. It is a poetry magazine for deliberate, obstinate, unreasonable, or unacceptable poems, contrary to the accepted or expected standard or practice, edited by Chrissy Williams. This has so many issues that you can browse. The magazine started in summer 2018. You can download the PDF of the issues here. For example, here, Mary Mulholland Fractured. I count when I panic. Today, 27 plus 30. By the lake, 6 add 40. Take away 5. That makes webbed feet 90. Dig nails into palms. My skull's a collage of numbers. Isn't this an amazing line? My skull's a collage of numbers. Here is Tentacular Mag, another brilliant poetry magazine. It is an online poetry, responses and arts magazine issued 3 times a year, and it wants to be playful, exploratory, and warmly welcoming. It is looking for poems from all traditions and none, with a leaning to risks, photos and artwork and visual poems. So that's also great for all poets who produce more visual work, which is not the case with every journal. So some like this type of submission and some are looking for separate things. So make sure you send the right thing to the right magazine. We can have a look at the current issue here. Here we go. There's a poem by Will Harris, for example. Let's click on it. Here we go. Right. Okay, I will read this later. Let's see if we can find some more visual work. Ella Frears, a poetry film.
I want to share this emptiness room, not fill the silence with falseness or put tracks through the void. I want to share this wilderness of faith.
In March 2020, my phone declared indefinite. No word, no phone. The world was uncertain.
Here we've got a video game animation and a poem read on top of it. So you can check that out. Here is another favorite, Ink, Sweat and Tears. It is a UK-based webzine which publishes and reviews poetry, prose poetry, word and image pieces, and everything in between. Our tastes are eclectic and magpie-like, and we aim to publish something new every day. This means that it doesn't necessarily run issues, but it's a website you can check weekly or daily even, and you will find new writing on it. It looks really great. You can click here on the poetry page and have a great selection of poems that is updated pretty much all the time. And there's even a section for haiku. Now, if you look at submissions, you can see that from 1st October, it's possible to submit poetry, prose reviews, words, and image pieces. So it looks like this is still open. And you'll find the submission guidelines here. And here you can learn more about the people who are in charge of Ink, Sweat and Tears. Bath Mag is a magazine of new poetry. It was founded by poets Maria Whelan and Joe Carrick-Wubati in 2019, and it is an online poetry magazine and a home for the best new writing. Their aim is to offer a platform for both established and emerging writers to share a space. They publish 3 times a year and they are often open for submissions. At the moment, they are on issue 7. So here is what an issue looks like. And as usual, you just click on the poems to read the work. At the moment, they are open for submissions, I think. Yes, there's an October submission window, after which it will be February next time. No more than 3 poems per submission. This beautiful page is the home of Bad Lilies. And they are a relatively new journal, published 6 times a year. And they aim to showcase the finest poetry ranging in technique and subject matter. If you look at the issues, you can see that it's a recent journal. It started in April 2021 and it seems to publish every other month. The most recent issue is on ghosts. So that's a great read for Halloween, which is coming up very soon. You can have a look at these. And let's check the submission windows. The window is open until October 31st. Open to all poets, particularly keen to receive submissions from underrepresented voices. Okay, there you go. Welcome to Coven Poetry, an online poetry and art journal with great style. Here is the cover of issue number 4, and you can download previous issues here. This journal is a gathering of magical practitioners, an online literature and art journal that seeks to give space to the innovative and experimental with a particular interest in work that is ecologically aware, that explores process as ritual and mythology and crafts. If you've been following my channel for a bit, you will know that I am very interested in seeing poetry as a ritual and poetry as magical practice. So this looks absolutely fabulous. I didn't know Coven Poetry at all, so I'm very excited about it. And submissions are open to poetry. And again, it includes video, visual poetry, object poetry, digital poetry. So it's a very broad view of what poetry can entail. As always, check the submission guidelines and make sure you send the right thing to the right people at the right time. Glitch Words is a microzine. It is published by Chris Hiles, who is an autistic lesbian creative, and it is interested in microprose and micropoetry. Here you can view issue 7, which is the current issue, and you can flick through it like that. It looks pretty great. So you can see that it's short form and it's also illustrated. All of the previous issues are also available in the archive. Amber Flora refers to plants that are preserved in amber, and it is an online magazine with a focus on eco-poetry and world poetry. They welcome eco-poetry, activist poetry, materialisms, translations, poetry that explores connection to land, origins, cultures, the non-human, and anything in between. They are particularly interested, again, in submission from minority writers, and they also invite reviews and responses to poetry books and pamphlets that resonate with the theme. You can see here all the issues that they have published, and you can view them online like this. Here is the Culling by Isabel Buffy. She looks really beautiful, I think, on a simple white background like that. When it comes to submissions, they are currently, I'm not sure, through July 15th. Sounds like a very, very long open window, so maybe it's not updated, but you can watch their submission window to see when you can send texts. Okay, so this is the first part of this series on online poetry journal. As I said, the next part is coming soon. Let me know down below if there are other titles that you particularly like, or if you are thinking of submitting some of your poems somewhere. I'd love to hear about it. I wish you best of luck in any case, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!